Derek and Melinda met one sunny afternoon in a small coffee shop in their neighborhood. Melinda, with her bright smile and warm laughter, caught Derek's attention right away. She was outgoing and loved to chat about anything that made her happy. Derek, on the other hand, was more reserved. He enjoyed listening and observing rather than chatting. Despite their differences, they felt a strong connection. Melinda admired Derek's thoughtfulness, while he was drawn to her cheerful nature. In the beginning, their relationship felt like a sweet adventure. They spent long hours talking, sharing dreams, and laughing over coffee. Their emotional bond grew strong. Melinda felt safe with Derek, knowing he would always listen and support her. Derek valued Melinda's spirit, and her energy inspired him to open up. This initial phase built a solid friendship that quickly blossomed into love. However, as they got closer, challenges began to appear. Melinda had a tendency to feel hurt when Derek didn't share his feelings openly. Meanwhile, Derek sometimes struggled to express himself, often retreating into silence rather than talking through problems. These moments of misunderstanding created worry for both of them. But deep down, both Derek and Melinda held hope. They believed in the strength of their connection and were willing to work through their challenges together. As the months passed, the connection between Derek and Melinda began to feel different. Melinda started noticing small changes in Derek. He often seemed lost in his thoughts, staring out of the window during their coffee dates and not fully participating in their conversations. Melinda felt a growing sense of disconnection, almost as if a fog had settled between them. It worried her. She missed the way Derek used to share even the little things on his mind. One evening, while they were at their favorite cafe, Melinda tried to talk to him about how she felt. "Derek, is everything okay? You seem a bit distant lately," she asked, her voice soft and hopeful. She wanted to help, but she also feared what she might hear. Derek looked surprised. "I'm fine, Melinda. Just tired from work," he replied, forcing a smile. Melinda felt a twinge of disappointment but chose to believe him. Over the next few weeks, Derek's silence deepened. Melinda noticed he would often look at his phone rather than engage with her. Sometimes, when she shared exciting news about her day, he would nod but seemed distracted. This hurt Melinda's heart. It felt like the warmth they once enjoyed was fading. She wanted to feel connected again but didn't know how to reach him. Feeling misunderstood and frustrated, Melinda decided to express her feelings more clearly. During another coffee date, she opened her heart. "I really miss our talks, Derek. It feels like you are not here with me anymore. I want to be close to you," she shared, her voice trembling with emotion. Derek's eyes widened. "I didn't realize you felt that way," he said, his tone even, but Melinda saw the confusion in his eyes. Derek wanted to reassure Melinda, but he struggled to find the right words. He felt pressure building inside him, a mix of wanting to explain his feelings but not knowing how. He had been facing stress at work, which made him retreat even more. "I'm just going through a lot right now," he explained slowly. "It's hard for me to talk about it." Melinda nodded, trying to understand, but the gap between them seemed to widen as she listened. The misunderstandings began piling up. Melinda felt alone, caught in an emotional storm as she doubted whether Derek truly cared. She wrestled with her thoughts, asking herself if she was being too needy or if she was making a big deal out of nothing. Meanwhile, Derek was stuck in his own battle. The silence created a wall, and he feared that expressing his struggles might push Melinda away even more. One evening, feeling the weight of unspilled emotions, Melinda expressed her sadness to Derek. "I know you have your struggles, but it feels like you're pushing me away," she said with gentle honesty. "Please let me in. I can't stand feeling like this." Derek's heart sank. He desperately didn't want Melinda to feel alone, yet he felt trapped by his own fears. As they both grappled with their feelings, they realized that talking openly about their struggles could either bridge the gap or deepen it. They were caught in a cycle of self-doubt and misunderstanding, unsure of how to move forward. Both held the hope that they would find a way to reconnect, yet the fear of vulnerability loomed large between them. As Derek and Melinda began to open up about their feelings, a new challenge arose that tested their growing confidence. One evening, As they sat in their living room discussing their week, Melinda mentioned a new friend she had met at work, Sam. "He's really nice, and we often grab lunch together," she said, her eyes bright with enthusiasm. Derek felt his stomach tighten at the mention of Sam. Instantly, a wave of jealousy washed over him. He didn't want Melinda to feel close to someone else. He wanted her all to himself. Derek struggled with his emotions. Instead of voicing his insecurities, he fell silent again. Melinda noticed the shift in his demeanor and asked, "Derek, what's wrong?" But he brushed it off, saying, "Nothing, really. I'm just tired." Meanwhile, he replayed thoughts in his mind. Sam had charm, and he could make Melinda laugh. Derek feared that he was losing her connection. This internal conflict grew into a storm, but he kept his feelings locked inside. As days went by, Melinda sensed Derek's growing distance. She wanted to reassure him but worried what might happen if she pressed too hard. She recalled the last time they tried to communicate their fears. It only seemed to bring pain. So, she decided to give him space, hoping he would open up when he was ready. But instead, Derek's jealousy simmered beneath the surface, souring their interactions. To mask his feelings, he became less responsive, snapping at small things that normally didn't bother him. The tension thickened in the air between them, turning lighthearted moments into awkward silences. One day, after Melinda came back from lunch with Sam, she noticed Derek acting particularly cold. "Did you have a nice time?" he asked, trying to sound casual, but Melinda could sense something else behind his words. "It was good, but I missed you," she replied, wanting to comfort him. Derek couldn't help but feel hurt, and for a moment, frustration overtook him. "It seems you're having more fun without me," he said, a hint of bitterness creeping into his tone. Melinda felt her heart sink at his words. "Derek, that's not true. You know how much you mean to me," she replied, feeling the need to fight for their connection. "I just thought you might like to meet him. He's just a friend." The argument escalated quickly from there, fueled by Derek's internal jealousy and Melinda's need for reassurance. Each spoke words meant to express hurt but only added to the growing divide between them. They ended the conversation with raised voices and hurt feelings. After that, they fell into silence, each retreating to their own thoughts. In their separate corners of the house, they wrestled with feelings of anger and confusion. Melinda felt sad that Derek didn't trust her, while Derek felt alone with his doubts. The unresolved behavior festered between them, each waiting for the other to make the first move to heal the rift. Yet within the storm of their emotions and misunderstandings, small glimmers of hope emerged. Deep down, both knew they wanted to reconnect. They both recognized a need for growth, not just together but individually. Each faced their emotional struggles, understanding that this moment could either break them apart or motivate them to face their challenges together. The tension in their hearts felt heavy, yet they each held on to the small belief that adaptation and communication could lead them toward understanding. One chilly evening, tension hung heavy in the air as Melinda and Derek sat on opposite ends of the couch. The quiet was thick, filled with unspoken words and hurt feelings. Melinda picked at the edge of a blanket, unwilling to break the silence, though all she wanted was connection. Derek stared at the television, though he wasn't really watching it. He felt anger swelling inside him, mixing with the lingering pain of their earlier argument. Finally, Melinda's frustration boiled over. "Why can't you just talk to me? It feels like you're shutting me out." Her voice shook, both from anger and disappointment. Derek's head snapped up, surprised by her sudden outburst. "I'm not shutting you out. You're the one who keeps mentioning Sam. It drives me crazy." Melinda's face fell. "This isn't about Sam. It's about us. I need you to share your feelings with me, but you keep hiding. What do you want me to do?" She felt raw and exposed, her chest tightening with emotion. His heart raced, and Derek felt overwhelmed. "Sometimes I wish you didn't talk to him at all," he shouted, not thinking before he spoke. The words tumbled out, sharp and unforgiving. Melinda gasped, her face pale as his words pricked at her. "How can you say that? You know he's just a friend. You're being ridiculous." Derek stood up, feeling the anger course through him, the heat of jealousy and frustration swirling together. He couldn't hold back the words choking him. Maybe I wouldn't feel so insecure if you didn't act like you enjoy being with him more than with me. His voice dripped with bitterness. At that moment, he didn't care how hurtful his words were, he just needed to share the pain that had built up inside him. Melinda felt as if the floor fell away beneath her. I can't believe you think I would choose him over you. Why can't you trust me? Tears began to roll down her cheeks, each drop a mix of sadness and confusion. She had not intended for this to turn into a battle. Her heart ached at the thought that Derek could feel that way. You don't get it. You're always so happy when you're with him. I sit back and wonder if I'm good enough for you, he shouted, pacing the room. That sense of insecurity buried deeper than he had realized erupted into anger that felt justified in that moment. Good enough? Derek, I love you. Why is that so hard to see? Melinda cried out, feeling her voice breaking. This isn't just about you feeling jealous. It's about us needing to grow together, not apart. And there they were, locked in battle, words flying through the air like arrows. Both were frustrated and heartbroken. The words exchanged were sharp and harsh, and in their heat, they lost sight of their true goal, understanding and connection. Raw anger and hurt filled the space, pushing them further apart, leaving nothing but regret on their lips. Derek turned away, rubbing his forehead as if trying to block out the noise. Melinda wiped her tears, feeling shattered. The silence that followed felt thicker than before, filled with unexpressed feelings and uncertainty. They had both crossed lines they never wanted to reach, and in that moment, it felt as though they had lost a piece of each other. Despite the deep love they felt, the words loomed in the air. A storm resulted from their unvoiced insecurities, leaving them both questioning whether they could find their way back. That night, after their explosive argument, Derek paced the living room, trying to make sense of his emotions. His heart was heavy, yet his mind raced in circles. Questions flooded his thoughts. Did he really love Melinda? Why couldn't he trust her like he should? The anger had felt so real in the moment, but now it washed away, leaving behind a cold ache of guilt. Unable to sleep, he grabbed his journal, a thin notebook he used to capture his thoughts. As the pages crinkled under his grip, he began to write, pouring his feelings out into words. Why do I always let jealousy dictate my actions? He scribbled. He detailed how deep down, he worried about feeling less than enough, that maybe he couldn't compete with Sam's charm. I need to stop pushing her away, he wrote, frustration spilling from his pen. He reflected on moments where Melinda had supported him and how unfair it felt to demand her loyalty while struggling with his own insecurities. Meanwhile, Melinda sat on the edge of their bed, wiping her tears and feeling utterly drained. The hurt from Derek's words cut deep, resonating with her fears of inadequacy. Hugging her knees to her chest, she recalled their last argument. Did she mean so little to him that he questioned her love? Frustrated, she reached for her own journal. She began writing her fears down, seeking clarity amid the pain. I hate feeling like this, she penned, feeling more vulnerable than ever. Does Derek not see how much I care? In her writing, she compared her hurt to a deep river, always flowing but often hidden beneath the surface. She thought about the distance that had grown between them. If we don't fix this now, we might just drift apart, she realized, gripping the pen tightly as a wave of anxiety washed over her. In the silence of their room, she understood that fear could destroy their relationship, and she felt a flicker of realization. They both were hurting, and they needed to fight for what they had. Late into the night, separate thoughts swirled in each of their minds like a dance of shadows. Derek started recalling moments he took for granted when Melinda would actively listen to his worries and offer support, or when they would laugh together without a care in the world. Why did I let jealousy blind me? He thought with despair. In those reflections, a new understanding began to form, a desire for connection stronger than the hurt. Melinda, too, had an epiphany as she wrote. I can't keep carrying my own worries without sharing them, she mused. She thought about her own need for reassurance and how that need wasn't always met with clarity. I have to encourage Derek to let me in, so he doesn't feel alone. Both realized how important it was to voice their emotions rather than let them fester, understanding that the way forward required vulnerability. As dawnlight began to seep through their bedroom window, Derek and Melinda each looked at their journals filled with sorrow and truth, awakening a sense of hope. They were still so deeply connected, and with honesty, they could still have a chance to rebuild. The fear of losing each other boiled down to a shared desire to confront their challenges together and find a way back to the love that brought them together. Each lay, still awake in their thoughts, knowing that it was time to confront their fears and heal the rift between them. As the sun rose on a new day, a sense of resolve began to bloom within both Derek and Melinda. Each had spent countless hours reflecting on their feelings and the distance that had crept into their relationship. Both recognized that their paths had diverged, yet they still held on to hope. Derek made the first move that morning. His heart weighed heavy with guilt as he remembered everything he had written in his journal. He realized how unfairly he had treated Melinda. After breakfast, he took a deep breath and walked cautiously into their bedroom where Melinda sat, her gaze lost in thought. "Can we talk?" he asked softly, his voice trembling a little. Melinda looked up, her heart beating faster. She had been waiting for this moment, feeling the weight of their silence lingering in the air. "Yes, I'd like that," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. With a deep breath, Derek sat down across from her. "I'm really sorry for what I said the other night. I let my jealousy and insecurities take over, and I know that's not fair to you." The sincerity in his voice made Melinda's chest tighten somewhere between relief and lingering hurt. "I've been feeling lost, too," Melinda confessed, feeling tears well up in her eyes. "When I heard you say those things, it hurt so much. I just want you to know you are enough for me. I love you." Derek's heart raced as he listened to her words. They were raw and powerful. "I should have trusted you," he said, and for the first time, there was a softness in his expression, a hint of vulnerability that made Melinda feel uplifted. "I realize I'm scared of losing you, and that's something I have to work through. I don't want to keep shutting you out," he continued, leaning closer. Melinda felt hope spark within her. "I think we might benefit from talking to someone, like a counselor or a therapist. They could help us understand each other better and guide us through this," she suggested tentatively. Derek nodded in agreement, feeling the weight of their shared decision. "I would like that. I think we both need it." As they exchanged thoughts, a new openness filled the room. They began to grasp how past traumas and deep-seated fears had colored their relationship's canvas. They shared their insecurities about the future and their commitment to growth, not just as individuals but as a couple. In this moment of undiluted honesty, joy began to creep back into their hearts, replacing some of the fear. "We could start by reading some relationship advice books together as well," Derek proposed, feeling inspired by the idea. Melinda brightened at the thought. "Yes. We could make it a weekly thing, like our coffee dates," she suggested, her laughter breaking the ice surrounding them. As they planned their next steps together, both felt lighter, energized by the realization that they were still on the same team. They laughed and shared dreams for their future, but also committed to facing any obstacles as they arose. Healing did not mean forgetting the past but learning from it with each other's support. Derek reached out and took Melinda's hand, squeezing it tightly. "I'm really glad we're doing this together," he said earnestly. In that moment, they both felt a surge of connection that rekindled the flame of love they thought was dwindling. They decided, there in their bedroom, that they would fight for each other, no matter the challenges ahead. Hope intertwined with love reaffirmed their bond, making both partners eager to take action, knowing they would emerge from the storm stronger than before. In the days following their heartfelt conversation, Derek and Melinda began to implement the changes they had discussed, eager to rebuild their connection. They made a commitment to communicate openly and to show appreciation for each other in small, meaningful ways. It was a fresh start, but not without its challenges. The first change they tried involved setting aside time each evening to share their thoughts about the day. One night, as they sat together on the couch, Melinda smiled nervously. "Okay, so, let's start. How was your day?" she asked, hoping to ease into the conversation. Derek hesitated. He was used to keeping his thoughts to himself, and opening up felt foreign at first. "It was all right, I guess," he replied, his mind wandering like it often did. The air felt tense, and Melinda sensed his hesitation. "You can be honest with me, Derek. Anything about your day could help," she said gently, encouraging him. After a pause, he took a deep breath. I was frustrated at work because I felt like I didn't contribute much to the project, he admitted, his voice steady but quiet. Melinda nodded, encouraging him to go on. But it's okay, I just need to focus more. That sounds tough. I think you did a great job trying to help, Melinda said, though she wished he'd see his own worth more clearly. In moments like these, Derek struggled to break old habits. He would often brush off his feelings, just like before. As they settled into their new routine, there were days when vulnerability felt challenging. One Saturday morning, while preparing breakfast together, Melinda accidentally spilled juice all over the counter. Oh no. I'm such a klutz, she exclaimed, feeling embarrassed. That old voice of insecurity led her head. Hey, it's fine, Derek said, trying to lighten the mood. Everyone spills things, it happens. He moved in to help clean up, but as he wiped the counter, he felt a twinge of hesitation. The impulse to tease her bubbled up, but he remembered how little moments could affect their vulnerability. Instead, he offered a playful grin. No worries, I was just going to clean up anyway, he teased lightly, trying to show that they were in it together. The awkward moments would arise. Melinda would sometimes ask how Derek was feeling, and he would freeze, caught off guard. I'm fine, he would often say, as the words felt wrong in his mouth. He wanted to say more, but old instincts kicked in, keeping him guarded. On one such occasion, Melinda pressed gently. But you can tell me if you're not. It's okay to not be fine sometimes, she reminded him, her eyes full of understanding. Realization washed over him in those moments. I want to share more, and it's hard for me, he finally admitted one night, vulnerability shining through his eyes like sunlight. Melinda felt a swell of hope. They were both learning to be patient and supportive with each other. They also made a habit of leaving little notes for one another, reminders of love and appreciation. Melinda would pick up the slant of Derek's smile, and he noticed the glimmer of happiness when she received his notes, which became precious tokens of their dedication. In these moments, the falling action of their story began to take shape. They were gathering skills to embrace openness, proving that their relationship could withstand storms. While challenges lingered and old habits sometimes crept back, they kept pushing through together. Each little step forward filled them with hope, reminding both Derek and Melinda that their love was worth the work, and together, they were rewriting the story of their relationship. One warm evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Derek and Melinda decided to take a walk through the nearby park, the air filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers. It had become one of their favorite habits since their talk about better communication, and tonight felt especially promising. The vibrant colors of the sunset mirrored the growing closeness they had achieved in recent weeks. As they strolled along the path, they chatted about the little things, everything from their favorite foods to plans for the weekend. A comfortable silence fell between them as they found a bench under a large oak tree. Sitting side by side, they felt the beauty of the moment surround them. Melinda turned toward Derek, her eyes sparkling in the light. I feel like we've changed so much these past few weeks, she said, her voice warm with appreciation. Do you ever think about where we were, not so long ago? It was a gentle reminder, but her tone held no accusation. Instead, it invited reflection. Derek smiled, thinking back to their rough moments. It really does feel different now, he admitted. I can't believe how much we've been able to share. It feels safe. Exactly. Safe, Melinda echoed, excitement bubbling in her voice. I can talk to you without worrying about whether I'm going to hurt your feelings or if you're going to pull away from me again. Her heart raced as she spoke, a swale of hope lighting up her spirit. I really missed this, just being able to connect, you know? For a moment, Derek grasped her hand tightly, feeling that warmth wash over him. I've realized that it's okay to be vulnerable with you, he said softly. I've always been so afraid to let others in, but you make it easier. I feel like I can breathe again. She could sense the weight of his past lifting as they connected deeper, moving toward vulnerability while having no fear of judgment. After a pause, Melinda looked into his eyes and saw the honesty behind them. I feel the same way now. I know I can trust you with my feelings, and that's something very special. Emboldened by this moment of trust, they began to share their dreams and aspirations without holding back. "Remember when we used to talk about traveling?" Melinda asked, her eyes brightening. "What about going to Italy one day? Seeing the canals in Venice and the countryside in Tuscany?" Derek laughed, his joy bubbling forth. "Yes. I think we could really enjoy that together," he said with a warm smile, his heart swelling at the thought of adventures shared. They painted pictures of their future, imagining laughter and memories locked into every frame. The conversation flowed effortlessly, and suddenly, it dawned on both of them how raw and real their connection had become. This wasn't a one-time effort, it was becoming a way of life. They felt seen and heard, their bond enriched with every word exchanged. This evening marked a shift. The soft, unguarded expressions of love were not fleeting, but a steady promise to each other. As the twilight sky shifted to a deeper shade of blue, Melinda reached over to nestle her head on Derek's shoulder. "Thank you for always trying to make this work," she whispered. It was a simple reminder of their journey, yet said more than words could capture. Derek replied without hesitation, "Thank you for trusting me even when I stumbled." In that moment of quiet connection, they both understood that they had climbed uphill, and now they stood together on solid ground, hand in hand, ready to face whatever would come next, together, securely woven into each other's lives. The laughter came easier, and the lightness in their hearts hinted that love, now reignited, had a chance to sustain them. As summer blossomed into fall, the changes between Derek and Melinda became noticeable to those around them. Friends commented on their renewed laughter, the playful glances they exchanged, and the lightness in their voices. The couple had journeyed through rocky terrain together and emerged stronger, both as individuals and as partners. They understood now how to communicate openly, support one another, and embrace vulnerability without fear. One bright Saturday morning, they decided to spend the day at the community fair. It was bustling with activity, children laughing, colorful booths lining the paths, and tasty aromas wafting through the air. They wandered hand in hand, sharing stories and indulging in each other's excitement. Derek laid eyes on a small stand filled with handmade crafts and jewelry. "Look at that," he said, pointing to a beautifully crafted bracelet. Melinda paused and glanced at Derek's hopeful expression. "Oh, it's lovely. You should buy it for yourself," she suggested, reflecting on how well he deserved a little treat. Derek shook his head, a smile growing on his face. "Actually, I was thinking of buying it for you," he admitted sheepishly. "I thought the color reminded me of you." Melinda's heart swelled as she watched his cheeks shade with pink, revealing his thoughtful nature once again. As they approached the vendor and picked up the bracelet, Derek gently slipped it onto Melinda's wrist. It fit perfectly. "I love it, thank you," she exclaimed, feeling a surge of warmth flow through her. "It means so much that you see me like this, by the colors I love." This simple act felt significant, a symbol of how far they had come together. Later in the day, they stumbled upon a booth offering lantern making. Intrigued, they decided to give it a try. Sitting at the table adorned with vibrant paper and ribbons, they began to create their lanterns. The excited chatter of other couples murmured around them, while Derek and Melinda laughed and shared their ideas. "I want to make ours a mix of colors," Melinda said, her eyes gleaming. "It's a symbol of us, how we blend together perfectly despite our differences." Derek nodded, grateful that they had learned to embrace their unique strengths and weaknesses. As they finished their creations, the instructor guided them to the patio where they talentedly hung their lanterns with others. The gentle breeze caught the paper, flickering colors glowing as daylight faded. Noticing their lantern proudly hanging, Derek turned to Melinda with his brow furrowed playfully. "You know, this metaphor for us? It works, doesn't it?" Melinda laughed, recalling all the challenges they had conquered. Their love radiated like those lanterns, each bustling hue representing the emotions they learned to share. "It does," she replied. "We are brighter together." Just then, a soft breeze blew, lifting the lanterns slightly as they swayed with twinkling tapestries in the twilight. Derek paused for an instant, observing how comfort and assurance had become cornerstones of their relationship. These moments didn't blur under doubt, instead, they now felt reliable. He leaned down, kissed Melinda softly, sealing a promise of love, growth, and understanding. It feels great to truly see each other now, Derek said, serenity flowing through him. I know we will face challenges again, but I trust we can handle anything together. I know we can, Melinda replied, her smile radiant. In that moment, surrounded by warmth from the lanterns and each other, they embraced the reality of their evolved relationship. With hope blossoming in their hearts, they stood united, ready to take on whatever life threw their way, together. The lantern had become a beautiful symbol of their journey, illuminating the night as a reminder of the light they found in one another through growth, support, and unwavering love.